Yo, good morning, peeps. Just another day heading out to work. It's early. It's getting kind of warm, and yesterday was a little cold. So I don't know what's up with this weather. I wish it'd make up its mind, because it sucks to have your sweater on while you're working. It's cold. It's keeping you warm. Then all of a sudden it gets hot, and you're sweating, and then all of a sudden it's like cold again, and you're like, whoa, I am like dripping with sweat and I'm cold. Where's my sweater? I left it downstairs 5 flights. I can't go back and get it. So yeah, that's the struggles I face. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this whole situation with James Freeman, you know what I mean, and this other auditor who got shot in the back, which I predicted. I said, do not go out there picking fights and getting into quarrels and arguments out on the street trying to audit with a firearm. It's not going to end up well for anyone. You could end up shooting and harming somebody. Somebody could end up shooting and harming you. And what happened? Someone got shot by the auditor, and then he got shot because he didn't want to comply. So it's like, we're not giving, or they're not, I'm not doing anything like that. Trust me, I would never ever do anything like that. I have common sense, and I don't need to make revenue off of YouTube. I don't need your clicks and likes. I don't need anything like that. You know, I work a good job. I work hard, and I work for everything that I have. I always have done that. I don't need to scam anybody. I don't need to start a CCW concierge service to support my lifestyle. None of that. I work hard, okay? That's what I need to do, and that's what they're not willing to do, and that's exactly why they're pieces of shits, is because they don't want to work. You know, look at all these people don't have jobs and shit. So, yeah, the whole situation with James Freeman, it's like, see, you can't get your way by being a freaking weirdo. You know what I mean? You can't use weapons to get your way. You can't threaten people. I don't care if it's your family member or anything like that. It's even worse if it's your family member. You're never going to get your way. Society's going to look at you like a weirdo and a psycho if you raise up your arms to force someone who you say you love to do what you want them to do. It's not going to happen that way. You're going to end up in prison. It's not 1800s anymore, where, you know, your days maybe a couple of weeks away from any law enforcement out in the middle of, you know, nowhere. No, it's not like that anymore. You know what I mean? And you need to function with society and be a good member of society, and not pull weapons on people and assault them. And just exactly the way how Chile de Castro and Delete Laws and the whole Team DLZ, whatever, illusion didn't help James Freeman or this other auditor, you know, that got shot. Same way they didn't help me. They don't care. You know what I mean? They only want to do the things and the agendas that they want to do. Same thing with the ANCAP cop watcher, right? Chile de Castro's like, I'm going to help him. Then all of a sudden, he might have said something bad about me. I'm not going to help him anymore. What happened in the movement? You know what I mean? Like, exactly like with BZ Watchdog. I'm like, bro, if you don't like me, who cares? You don't have to like me. This is going to restore the rights of people all across California. You know what I mean? I'm just asking you to bring awareness. I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking you to do a fundraiser for me. I'm not asking you to find a lawyer to represent me. I have that all covered. I'm just asking you to bring awareness. That's it. 5-minute video. Same thing with Michael Eline. 5-minute video. Let me call in. Let me talk about it. Let me bring awareness. No, what does he do? Talks about gold. And sovereign citizen shit and natural law. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. That's not doing anything for anyone, man. You know what I mean? And I come to realize those people selling like the gold standard on YouTube, it's all grifting shit. You know what I mean? Gold is not going to mean anything. Like, let's say, because they're trying to prepare for when shit hits the fan. Gold's going to be worthless. No one's going to want gold if shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? If you're out here living like a Red Dawn type situation, no one's going to want gold. You know, what are they going to want? Ammunition, food, shelter. You know what I mean? All those go out the window. Gold is only something for a privileged society, and a society that isn't experiencing, you know, famine and war and things like that that's ripping them apart. So all those people on YouTube, you know, I mean, I don't listen to them anymore. You don't even see me on their lives. You don't see me interacting anymore. I reached out to them as much as I could. So when I do win, I'm going to call them all out exactly the way I'm doing right here. You know what I mean? Michael Eline, you didn't help me. BZ Watchdog, you didn't help me. You know what I mean? You didn't do anything. You insulted me and called me a little bitch and everything else, and said nobody liked me and how I was going to lose my case because I have no chance, right? It's the same exact thing that the CRPA and everybody else told me. They're trying to bring me, they're all part of the same system. That's what they won't tell you. They say, oh yeah, we're fighting against corruption. What does he do other than screaming people's faces in the street, in parking lots, and in city council meetings? What does he do? He does nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and then when I reached out for him to do something like, hey, bring awareness about this case, it's actually doing, he gets mad and insults me and calls me every freaking bad name out there in the book. Why? Because he thinks he's some kind of like hardcore, I'm a hardcore gang member and I talk like this. Or, no, you're not. You know what I mean? No, you're not, dude. You know, it's horrible way of living. It's a horrible way of making a living. You know what I mean? And then when you go to try to get a job, look at John Flaxative. Look at that idiot. I told him, you better take those videos down, man. You know, like you're making yourself a prohibited possessor by walking into a dispensary with a firearm, trying to buy cannabis and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? It's not a good look. You know what I mean? And they're gonna frown on that. You know, and take it down, dude. You know, and then all of a sudden he gets a job. First day on the job, he gets fired. You know, I bet you anything, it's a driving job. They don't want anyone on cannabis driving their trucks. You know what I mean? It is a major liability. Millions of dollars they could get sued for it because some idiot was driving with a gun and smoking weed. You know what I mean? That's the way the corporate is going to look at it. I told him, dude. You know, he didn't want to listen to me. He's another one who kicked me off of Discord because I straight up told him, you do nothing for anyone. You don't do a damn thing for anyone's rights. You know what I mean? All you do is you go around and you insult people. You film private individuals coming in and out of a dispensary, and you cause arguments. And that's exactly why this company didn't want you to work for them. It's plain and simple. But he's blaming everybody else but the real actual problem, which is him. He's the problem. You know what I mean? And I do nothing like that. And everybody loves him. He's got such a big following. I'm doing something real, and I'm doing something that's actually going to make a change. Do you see anyone following me? I got 510 subscribers, and I highly appreciate you people. Thank you so much. I am so happy that I built up 500 subscribers just off of this. Just doing what I'm doing. Just being me. Just being real. You know what I mean? Just being a real blue-collar individual that's working hard for the rights of all Californians, you know, everywhere. It's not just for me. I'm not doing this just for me. It's not just because I got denied my CCW. It's because I realize that people's rights are being violated and we are losing our constitutional inalienable rights. They're not created by the Constitution. They are assured by the Constitution. Like it just confirms that these rights existed before man even made laws. But according to Mark Scoglin, Chad Bianco, you know, he wants to run for governor under the I'm a pro Second Amendment sheriff, and he's never said anything about constitutional carry in California. And if he did want constitutional carry in California, why is he fighting me in my case? Why? Look at his name is right there, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Why? Because he denied my CCW because his coordinator thought I was Muslim, started screaming at me and acting like a horrible human being, which I've never done to anybody. You can talk to anybody who's ever known me. I've never called them and purposely insulted them and told them that I'm going to take away their rights if I have something to do with it. Remember, folks, I've been reporting on this for a long time. Remember when he denied me? I told you how he said he made it a point to call me and tell me I will never have a CCW in California as long as he can help it. Okay? Then when I reapplied in January 2024 after SB2 and they could no longer use that good moral character stuff, he withdraws my application in an attempt to stop me from exercising my rights, to go through the process and be approved because now they can't use the same standards. No. And then they went above and beyond during the appeals process. So are those the type of people you want in government to control the whole state? Look at what they're doing in the county. If Chad Bianco becomes governor, he's not going to create constitutional carry. He's going to make more restrictions and make sure his buddy makes more money off of CCW concierge service. Look at the corruption. Okay, mark my words, people. Mark this date before Chad Bianco's governor. If he becomes governor, there will never be any constitutional carry. Okay? He is named in my lawsuit. He's not pro-Second Amendment. You're better off voting for an anti-gun person because you know for a fact where they're coming from and what to expect. With Chad Bianco, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, big time. He'll do whatever anyone with money will tell him to do because He can't work like me. He ain't like me. Mark Skoglund ain't like me, dude. You know what I mean? Like I said, they won't last 2 hours in my occupation. They sit behind a desk all day with their stupid mustaches and their stupid hair and their stupid faces and deny people all day long their constitutional rights, and then they don't feel bad about it. It's like they have that dark triad mindset where it's like Machiavellian. I'm a constitutionalist and I'm going to fight for your rights, your freedom, the attitude to protect both. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. You are such a lame piece of shit, dude. And exactly like I said, your rights, your freedom, I'm the asshole to take them away. You know what I mean? Because that's exactly what's going on here. But yet, let him tell the story. Okay, let him write his own autobiography, and he's gonna say, "Oh, I stood up for the rights of Californians, and I, did this and that, and I'm an advocate of concealed carry." And no, you're not, dude. You know what I mean? And we see right through you. We see exactly what's going on, and all you're doing is making yourself look stupid. You know what I mean? Like you keep yourself within this echo chamber of the people willing to pay for your stupid services, dude. Like what man needs another man to hold his hand to get through an application service, process? You know what I mean? I've never done that. I got to get a certified, as an electrician every 3 years or so. I don't need anyone to hold my hand and get me through the process. I did my own CCW application many times because I've done Utah, Arizona, California twice. I've done this, other applications all myself. I don't need a CCW concierge service. I could think for myself. I could write for myself. I could fill out an application by myself. I am not indigent. I am not a child. I don't need your services. Your services are shit. So, yeah, back to this whole Chili DeCastro, and he doesn't help people. You know what I mean? I've met him. I've been to his house. I've hung out with him. I've seen exactly what he's all about. And me and my girlfriend didn't like it at all. We got these really bad vibes, you know what I mean? And it's like every single time you talk to him, he's trying to get something out of you. He wants you to work for him. He wants you to help him soundproof his studio. He wants you to do this. He wants you to help him go to the junkyard and look for parts for a car to build his little simulator that he never actually ever used. Shit like that, you know what I mean? And it's like, bruh, we're supposed to talk about like how we were going to collaborate and start, teaching people how to start filing lawsuits and how to. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was all about him, and what he could get out of me at the moment. And I was actually there to try to help him. But he thought I was there for help from him. No, I was going to break down exactly what I did, how I started, this and that, how he could use AI to not write the lawsuit, but research for the lawsuit, okay? You don't use AI to write your lawsuit, dude. The course is going to see right through that, okay? And you're better off writing a shitty complaint by hand, off of your mind, rather than letting AI write it, because trust me, they'll catch it and they will get pissed. Why do you think my case is still alive? Because I actually wrote out my complaint, using my own research, typing it out, hours upon hours. It took me about 2 weeks to write that dang thing up, dude. Okay, I did a little bit better with the preliminary injunction on my own, but the complaint was total disaster. I admit that. You know what I mean? I didn't do the best job, but I tried my best. Why? Because that's all I had. I didn't have anyone to hold my hand. You know what I mean? Chili DeCastro has all kinds of people to hold his hand. If he needs money, he's in Vegas, and he's like, people, I need to start a GoFundMe to fight for this. And people send him $1,500 that night. You know what I mean? And I don't do things like that. I work for my money. And why doesn't he help James Freeman? Why does James Freeman catch these weirdo charges all of a sudden? Now nobody wants anything to do with him. I thought he was the GOAT. I thought he was the best amongst you all. You know what I mean? And now you don't want to help him? You know what I mean? All because he's got some weirdo charges now? Come on, people. Shit, dude. It's all a facade. Everything you see on YouTube is all fake. Nobody's who they say they are. Trust me, I've been through it. Okay? No one's real. No one wants to help each other unless they're going to profit and make money on it. Okay? Or they're going to share, substances, or like look at Floyd Wallace and all these other auditors getting busted for child crimes. You know what I mean? That's what they want. They want a circle of people who's going to feed into their little desires and their little corruption. You know what I mean? And if you're not part of that, if you're not getting arrested, if you're not diddling kids, if you're not, a part of this little criminal underground organized crime lifestyle, They don't want anything to do with you. They won't help you. They'll talk crap about you. Won't even mention a very important Second Amendment case. His channel is called Delete Laws. I'm literally deleting a law, and he won't even mention my case. The only time he mentioned it was I was on a live. I'm like, hey, Chili, mention my case, please. Oh, yeah, that's Pro Se America. He started a case, and he'll just forget about it and move on. Okay? Same thing like when I jumped on a live with BZ Watchdog and Michael Eli. BZ Watchdog got all mad because I'm like, hey, bro, when are we going to talk about my case? It was the beginning of the stream. I wasn't interrupting anything. I was just like having a conversation with them. And, oh, you always, you tried to take over the chat. Bro, you're like literally just sitting there staring at, and like it's barely getting started. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? Don't forget about my case. Hopefully one day you'll mention it. And then they get mad about that. BZ Watchdog actually started insulting and screaming at me right in front of Michael Eli. Michael Eli didn't say, hey, man, kick back this guy's. No, because they're all in on it. They're all in on the same little thing. You know what I mean? They all go to the same little countries and do the same little, things that they do over there. You know what I mean? It's obvious what they're up to. It's a ring of criminals, and they have their little handlers, to tell them what to do. You know what I mean? Like Chili DeCastro, there's a thing called multi-channel networks. And that's probably exactly what these frauditors are into. You know what I mean? They're into these little multi-channel networks, and they get paid to paint a narrative. You know what I mean? And the narrative is make our rights look bad. Be horrible people. Exercise your rights, but make sure you make yourself look like a horrible person while doing it. Scream in people's faces in parking lots. Insult them. Say things about their kids. Say horrible things. You know what I mean? Say bad things about cops. Blah, blah, blah. All that stuff, dude. It's all just a big old scam. It's all just a big old ruse to gather money, gather funds, gather donations, and make it look like they're actually doing something when it's all just a facade. It's all fake. And I'm calling them out. What the hell do you do, Chili? What do you do, BZ Watchdog? What do you do, Michael Eli? What do you guys do for anyone other than just like sit behind a screen and say, oh, well, it could be better. Maybe one day it will be better. Oh, we really want it to be better, but you don't take any action whatsoever other than file frivolous lawsuits to make money. You know what I mean? Why don't you help James Freeman? You know what I mean? Well, you left him hanging. I thought he was the GOAT. So, as long as you're screaming and cause faces and get arrested, it's all good. But if you get arrested for weirdo charges and you're making the whole movement look bad, they won't help you. You know what I mean? I thought it was a family. I thought it was, a tight-knit community. You know what I mean? But no. It just goes to show right there that everything they say is fake. It's all a facade. It's an illusion, okay? All right, peeps, I got to get to work here, so I'll hit you up later. I just wanted to, say my piece about that and how these people are acting freaking horrible and not helping each other like they say they would. So, all right, take care, peeps.